Hello guys, welcome back to the Talk Nasty to Me podcast. Holy shit, does that feel good to say? I feel like I've said that before though. Like I feel like I may have left the podcast at some point and been like, welcome back, I'm officially back. And then I took a very long hiatus. What has it been? Since August? So that's September, October, November, December. Oh my God, that's almost half a year that I took off the pod. It does not feel like I took almost a 6-month break. But then again, time does not exist. I literally said this in my last video, but I was like, oh yeah, do you know that I have no concept of time and the only way that I measure time is by what my hair looked like? Like that's the only, like I don't know when my hair was blonde. I don't know when my hair was short. I don't know when my roots were growing in and it was blonde. Like I have no idea any of that. But that's how I measure time for myself personally. Like if you were to be like, oh yeah, the last time that I saw this friend was when you had like really short blonde hair and the roots were coming in a little bit and you did it yourself, I'd be like, ah, yes, I remember that time period because other than that, I have no other concept of time. It's completely fine. Speaking of hair, I know I'm not even giving like a very proper introduction, but this needs to be said. Speaking of hair, I literally was like, I still live at home, just a life update. I live at home with my mom and my stepdad, and my stepdad was literally, well, let me backtrack. I was closing the doors because there's a door that leads to the bedrooms and like the hallway and to the living room where my parents were. And I was like closing the door and I was like, all right, guys, like please don't be loud for like 45 minutes to an hour. And my mom knew that I was going to go record my podcast and I currently have a hair mask in. And my stepdad goes, oh, you're filming? And I said, yeah. And he goes, don't you want to like do your hair if you're going to be filming? And I was like, oh my God, you think it looks that bad? I have a color mask on my hair right now, so it just looks brown and slicked back, but apparently it looks pretty bad to him, and my mom and I were just like laughing that the one time that he notices anything about our hair, it's to say that it looks bad. Like, okay, Adam, because my stepdad is also named Adam, the same name as my boyfriend. Yes, it's kind of weird. Anyway, I'm doing a coloring mask because my hair, I dyed it from blonde. And so it's still like fading sometimes. Like sometimes it just like looks a little bit funny in certain lights and everything. So I still need to like touch it up with a little color conditioner or whatever. So that's exactly what I was doing. Wow, this was all so unnecessary. Hi. Welcome back to the Talk Nasty to Me podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Nasty. I feel so good to be back because I've missed doing the podcast so much. It feels like one of the most intimate ways that I get to like communicate with my audience. You know, out of all my social media platforms, like yes, YouTube is awesome, but there's only so much that you can fit into like a 17-minute video. There's also so much that I choose not to show in like a 17-minute video. And a 17-minute video is long enough as it is already. Like, it doesn't need to be that long, but I choose to make them that long. And I miss having this, like, close connection with you guys that I don't get on, like, Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. But there's some good reasons as to why I took a break, which I'll get into and I'll explain soon. This is so cool, like, getting back into it. It feels also very weird because I'm in the exact same spot as when I was filming it last. I remember the last time that I recorded my podcast because I'm pretty sure I vlogged it. It was like my first week of school vlog where I was like moving out of my apartment and I started my classes, and there was one kid in my class who it was like I was showing my videos or my classes of my first week, and in it I said like, oh, there's a kid in my class who's a Trump supporter because he showed his like Trump flag in the background or whatever. And then the dude in my class watched that video like months later and then commented on it, and he was like, ouch, that hurt. And I just like liked it. Like, I don't know what you want me to do about that. But anyway, I remember recording the podcast, and I was sitting on my bed and my lights were purple and I was just vibing here in my little bedroom on my bed instead of sitting at my desk. And I think I like recording the podcast this way because it feels more like a little sleepover. So if you're listening to this in bed, just know that I'm sitting in bed. And if you're driving perhaps or maybe doing something productive at work, just know that I'm laying in bed and you're not. That's okay. You will eventually. But it just feels very like nostalgic to be back here. Wow, I have a lot to fill you guys in on because if you don't keep up with my videos, because apparently some of you guys only know me from my podcast and this is like the first time that you're listening to me again, or maybe it's your first time listening ever. Like maybe you're a new subscriber and you're like, oh, I didn't even know about the podcast. Well, now you're gonna know. Hi. I make podcasts and I upload them every single Monday to talk nasty. I shouldn't even say every single Monday because I didn't for the last 5 months, but that's besides the point. Where has Nicole been? What happened to the Talk Nasty to Me podcast? What has happened since that episode? What was it, like August something? What happened since then? Okay, well, I started my last semester of college ever. I adopted a kitten named Clementine. My cat of 17 years, Missy, also died, which is tragic. But Clementine has been amazing. I worked a lot on myself, like a shit ton, and my mom beat cancer, which is amazing. She went through chemo, which was very, very, very tough, on all of us. And now she has beaten it and she is done with her treatment. Well, for the most part, chemo. Anyone who has someone who has gone through like cancer and chemo knows that like treatment lasts for a while, no matter what it is, even if it's not like, intensive and stuff, but it still lasts for a while. I also graduated college, and now I'm a full-time YouTuber. Like that is my position. Like I'm a YouTuber, a podcaster, a content creator, not an influencer though. I don't really like the term influencer. I saw a video recently that I was like posted in, like my name was tagged in the video, and it was like why when people say I don't like being considered an influencer is pretty like misogynist or anti-feminist. I personally just don't like being called an influencer because I don't like the idea of influencing anyone to do anything. This is a topic for another day, but I personally don't feel like it's very, I think it depends on the context, but I don't think it's very misogynistic or anti-feminist to say I don't like being called an influencer, because that's not like my main role. Like I didn't do all of this or start all of this to persuade people to buy things or influence to buy or do things. I like content creating and I like video making, and just something that happened to be a part of it in order for me to make money is to sometimes do advertisements on my channel. Do you guys miss my rambles? Because I miss these. Like, I miss me rambling about certain topics and my nose getting very itchy throughout the podcast. I don't know why my nose gets so itchy while I do the podcast all the time. It literally feels like someone is tickling me the entire time. Anyway, I have done a lot in the last 5 months. A lot has happened to me in the last 5 months. A lot has happened even this week, okay? I can't really go into, like, what has happened this week because it's, personal life stuff, but just, like, a lot of shit has even happened this week, and it's crazy. It's crazy to look back on the last 5 months of my life and think that I'm just such a more stronger, powerful person. And I looked at myself today, not me like physically, but I was just like reflecting on myself, and I was like, wow, this is the most I've ever liked myself in my entire life. And I think that's very cool, because me now aged a 21-year-old, I remember what it was like to be, 17, 18, shit, even before I was 17, really not liking myself at all and not liking who I was as a person. And me now, as a 21-year-old, I really like myself. Like, I think I'm very cool. And I think younger Nicole would have thought that 21-year-old Nicole is exactly who like she wanted to be always. And that's very cool that I'm becoming into the woman that I always wanted to be. That's a very cool feeling to have, and I'm very proud of myself for that. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just really excited for the years to come. And I used to really fear getting older, and I used to fear coming into my age, and I always wanted to stay a teenager, but I realized that I'm so much happier now in my life, and I'm so much more free, even as a person who's freshly out of college and literally just had my graduation at my kitchen table with my mom and my cat eating Gigi Hadid's vodka pasta sauce in the middle of the day while I'm watching my graduation on Zoom. And I still just really, really look at myself now and think I'm like the coolest person ever now. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. I wouldn't trade that to go back in time. I wouldn't trade that for another life. Like, I am so happy with where I am now. And that's a very cool feeling, especially after many, many months of doubt and losing myself as a person, and stress. And I'm just in a very good spot right now, I like to think. Even though I'm like a little bit on autopilot, but I don't necessarily think it's that bad of a thing. I think I'm just like enjoying things and I'm going through the motions, and I'm not struggling. So maybe it's not necessarily that I'm on autopilot in my life, but it's more so that I am just doing life without struggling. Because before, when I was in the midst of this great struggle, which I will get into later on in this podcast, I feel like I was struggling so terribly to do even basic tasks and functions and go on throughout my days. Like, it literally felt like that scene from Twilight where Bella is sitting. It's like, I think it's from New Moon. It's the second movie. But it's where Bella is sitting and looking outside of the window, waiting for like Edward to return or something. And the months are just going by. And that's how I felt about the days, the weeks, the months. And I was physically unable to do anything, and it was eating me alive. And it was just, I was struggling so hard to do basic everyday things, like getting dressed and eating, and it was so bad. And now when I say I feel like I'm in an autopilot, it's just so easy for me to get through these motions and things and tasks because I'm not struggling to like live anymore. And that's very cool. I'm very proud of myself. And I hope that a lot of you are doing better, because I know a lot of you guys were struggling as well, especially like in the beginning of like the colder months. And I know that this is a really hard time for a lot of people with seasonal affective disorder and everything. So yes, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I took a break from podcasting, because I make my own little jingles on here. I don't have any of those like cool jingles. Like, for example, like Your Mom Ashley, she has, I highly recommend her podcast that you guys listen to it. I love hers. I think she has her brother literally say like a little segment, like a little jingle that they have, and he just goes, epic manifestations. And then they talk about their manifestations. I don't have like any pre-recorded ones, so I do my own little jingles. So let's talk about why I took a break from podcasting. Okay, so I didn't like consciously expect to take a break podcasting, but I remember talking it out with my boyfriend. Not because he needs to give me permission or anything, but simply because I talked to him about a lot of my life decisions, because he tends to give very good advice, because when I'm seeing cloudy, he's seeing pretty clear, and vice versa as well. And I was telling him, like, it's going to be kind of hard this semester because I have classes. Oh my God, I don't even remember my class schedule. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had classes Monday through Thursday. Did I have classes Friday? I don't think so. No, I had classes Monday through Thursday. See how quickly, literally, I just graduated a few days ago. I'm like, oh, school? What was she? I don't even know what classes I took. No, I had classes Monday through Thursday. I had a night class as well. I was taking care of my mom during chemo, and I was taking her to all of her appointments, doing 2 YouTube videos a week, and on top of that, trying to do a podcast. And when you say it out loud, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when I even like looked at my schedule, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know how I'm going to do this. Maybe it does sound a lot like when I do say it out loud, but I guess I'm just like such an overachiever and pusher of myself that I'm like, that's not a lot. You can do that. But it really did take a lot of time. Additionally, YouTube was my internship, which I'm so grateful that I was able to do this. And I really, really actually finessed this, but let me tell you guys something. So some of you may have to do this in your college, but at least for my major, I have to have an internship in order to graduate, okay? And I was supposed to have this one internship. My professor, one of my professors, he was a really cool guy. He still is a cool guy. Told me that I could have this specific internship at his company. And I was like, very cool. He was like, I'm going to customize this position to be like helpful to you. I really trust you. This is the same professor, if you guys remember, he told me that he would put stalks in me. Not physically, I don't think. But if he could, that he would put stalks in me because he saw a lot in me. And that meant a lot to me because he works with very big names and knows very big people. Cough, cough. Gigi Hadid. Anyway, so Gigi Hadid, I love your vodka pasta. That's all I have to say. Anyway, I have way too many weird connections to Gigi Hadid. That is a whole episode within it of itself. Anyway, that's not me being like, I have connections to Gigi Hadid, I'm her bestie. No, it's more so like, we have people who, my professor knows her stepdad or her mom's boyfriend or whatever, and I love her pasta, and we live in the same state sometimes. Anyway, that is totally besides the point. That is such a side note. So sorry. But where was I going with this? I was supposed to have an internship, and it was gonna be great, and I was really excited for it, and I needed this internship to graduate, so he really saved my ass. Like, I just called him up, and I was like, hey, let's call him Mark. Hey, Mark, can I work for you? I really need an internship to graduate. He goes, sure thing, Nicole. How are you? I said, my mom has cancer. He's like, I'm so sorry. 3 of my family members just died this month. I was like, holy shit. And then we just like related with each other on our like trauma porn. And we got each other, you know? But, you know, as any person who's going through a lot, they can kind of check out when it comes to work. So I'm talking with this company, and he like refers me to his employees. So I'm speaking with his employees about my position and stuff. And they were like, oh, well, we don't have that position, the position that I was mentioning. Or like, did Mark say that he was going to give this to you? I said, yeah, Mark said that he really wanted me to do this for you guys. And they were like, we don't have that as an internship, but let me check around with some people. I was like, all right. So this was like an ongoing thing for like a few weeks. Class already started. My internship class already started, because you have to take a class while taking the internship. And I was like I was getting scared, and I just had this really strong feeling and intuition that I was not going to have this internship anymore. Like, something was going to go wrong with it. So she reaches back out to me, and she's like, this internship does not exist. Like, Mark doesn't really have any details on it. He's not really able to, you know, mentally help right now. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, but we can only offer you this other position. And it's something that would have taken up so many hours, to the point where it would have been just even harder for me to function as a human being. And it was just a mess. And I was like, damn, it's like 2 to 3 weeks already into the semester. This is not the internship that I was promised. This really sucks. And it's unpaid, and it's a lot of hours. And I was able to talk with some people at the university, pull some strings. And essentially, I was able to make YouTube my internship at my school, because I was working 40 or more hours a week just doing my YouTube channel. And they saw something in me, and I'm so grateful for it. And I interviewed with some people, and I really had some good conversations, and they were like, this is like an internship because you are gaining experience, and this is something that you are pursuing after college. Yeah, we're going to let you make it an internship. And I still had to do all the assignments, and I had to do like check-ins every single week. Point of the story is that I was a very, very busy bee this entire semester of college, but I'm very grateful that I was able to do that as my internship, because I literally don't know how I would have functioned whatsoever if I had to do like, I don't want to say a real internship, but like another internship on top of that. So it was getting to be a lot, and I realized very quickly that I was doing a lot of work, like schoolwork on the weekends and stuff, and I was like, shit, I didn't do the podcast. Like, the podcast isn't up yet. What do I do? So I kind of just decided while the semester was going on, like every single week I was like, oh, maybe I'll push it back another week. Oh, I'll push it back another week. I just decided this isn't good for me. I need to take a break. And I think it would just be easiest for me to take a break until the foreseeable future. This made a lot of you angry. And I get it. I understand why it made people upset, because I didn't really announce like no new. Well, I did announce a few times like on my other social media, like no new podcast for a while. But you know, not everyone will see every video or post or whatever. Like, I completely get that, and I just kind of feel embarrassed whenever I do any sort of announcement of any sort. Like, if I have to do an announcement for, like for example, I'm not posting a video this Sunday, like the day before that you're listening this. And I decided that because there was a lot going on with my family this week, and I was like, I just need some time, a little bit of time off to reconvene, and I really don't want to work on the weekend, which is something that I'll also get into. And I was just like, I just need to take off, and I'm very grateful and happy for it, genuinely. But I don't like making announcements anymore, like being like, no new video this Sunday, because I understand at times it can be cool, but I just feel like I'm constantly like making excuses, and it looks bad, and it just feels like weird to always be apologizing. And I think the more fluid that I treat things, the better I will feel. And then perhaps you guys will also feel better, maybe. I don't know. But I would like to give myself more grace. And so with the whole podcast thing, I was like, yeah, people are going to be upset. I don't have a solid answer on when the podcast will be back, because I need to mentally get my shit back together with everything. And I took a break, and I'm so grateful for it, because I was able to take that time off. And in order for me to be able to sit down once a week and talk for an hour straight, it might seem very easy, but it is something that is difficult for me. So that is why I took a break, simply so that I could focus on school and YouTube and my family. And I don't regret it. I'm very happy that I took the time off. And this way, oh my God, have you guys seen the cover art? I don't know why this just came to mind now, but look at that cover art. Isn't that amazing? My friend Lauren Frank Design made that. Please go check her out on Instagram. And I love it. I was getting sick and tired of the pink, if I'm going to be completely honest. The reason that I chose pink initially, pink isn't even like one of my favorite colors. I've never really liked pink. I liked pink when I was little. My room used to be painted very, very bright pink. And I have no problem with the color pink, but it's not a color that I associate with myself. And I chose pink for the podcast because I had these like iconic photos that my friend Lauren did of me like holding an inhaler. It was literally for like a class project for her, but I don't have any like other professional photos of me taken any time recent, and those just happened to be photos that I used when my YouTube channel was getting bigger. And yeah, I don't know, it just became like my brand, like the pink and the inhaler, and that's just not really me now, and it just didn't like match me. And I was like, Lauren, we need to redesign this. And I love how the talk and to me are in the font that I use for all of my videos, like that Visco font. And I love the colors, and that it's the color of my actual inhaler, and it has the sparkles, and I'm just in love with it, and I'm so happy with it. And I don't know, I just feel like it looks so much cuter in like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Anchor even. On top of that, we now have an Instagram page for the podcast. It is Talk Nasty Podcast on Instagram. I debated for a while with myself, like, should it be Talk Nasty to Me Podcast? Talk Nasty Podcast? Talk Nasty Podcast? Talk Nasty to Me Podcast? I don't know. I'm liking Talk Nasty Podcast. So that's what it is on Instagram currently. And if you would have seen that, then, or if you follow me on Instagram, then you would have known that I have another podcast. Wow, Nicole, smart move, taking a break from podcasting and coming back with 2 podcasts. I know. Okay, my new podcast is called I Saw Your Tweet, Are You Okay? And it is with my friend Jake Robka. You might know him because him and I argue a lot in my in my Twitter mentions. Additionally, he was in a few of my YouTube videos when I still lived back at school. He also just graduated, and he's one of my closest friends, and quite frankly, one of the only people that I still keep in contact with after college, like through, the pandemic and everything. Like, I have a few friends that I'm still like close and good friends with, like through and through, and Jake is one of those people who tends to call me every single day. And I was like, we should really turn our conversations into a podcast, because we're going to talk on the phone for an hour all the time anyway. And I think our conversations together are great. And I think that they should be recorded and listened to by others. So now you guys get the pleasure of listening to us talk all the time. He made his first appearance on my YouTube channel. It was a video called Making Oat Milk with My Baby Daddy, where I made oat milk with my baby daddy. It was wonderful. And I hope that you guys enjoy that, because that's going to be coming out every Tuesday, and my individual podcast is going to be coming out every Monday. But if you're already like following the Talk Nasty podcast, then you will already receive in your subscription feed like, I saw your tweet, are you okay podcast. So you don't have to go subscribe or follow anything. Like it's just automatically going to come in because it's still under my like domain, if that makes sense. Similar to like how, for example, like H3 podcast, they have the H3 podcast, but then they have H3 like After Dark special, and then they also have Frenemies with Trisha Paytas, and it's not its own separate podcast. It's like just another series, I guess. So while it's its own thing, like Jake and I have our own thing on there, it's just through Talk Nasty. We just felt that that would be the easiest, and also so that you guys could find it. So give it a listen tomorrow when it comes out on Tuesday, and also go give Jake a follow and all of that good stuff. And also go follow the Instagram page, because I know that you guys wanted that for a very long time, and I just slacked on it because I was like, well, the podcast is on a hiatus. So yes, so go follow that so that you guys can get to know each other on there. Like, who the heck is listening to this podcast? Because there are no comment sections or anything, other than the YouTube channel that, you know, the podcasts do get uploaded to, which I'm going to be better about being consistent with. I put everything into my Google Calendar, guys, okay? Like, I am a much more organized lady. And yes, so I'm working through all of that to make sure that Instagram is up and running, and asking you guys questions on there and posting, and so that it's more consistent and you guys can talk about the episodes once they're over, and I can chat with you guys about how you guys felt about certain topics or whatever you guys want to say in there, so that we have our like little own area to chat. And I didn't use Twitter because Twitter can be a scary place sometimes, all right? And not as many people have Twitter, I feel like. So yeah, I'm just very happy about how things are going, and that I'm able to do a podcast with like one of my closest friends, and we've been having such a good fun time doing it. We've been working on it for a few weeks now, even episodes that we didn't like upload yet, and I'm just having a blast doing them with Jake, because we were coworkers when we were RAs together, but we never got the chance to like really work together on anything. So it's fun that we have like this new thing that's working for us, and it's not like weird or toxic or anything. Like, we have a very good balance and dynamic, I feel like. Watch Jake text me and be like, actually, I feel like our dynamic is awful. He might not even be listening to this podcast whatsoever. But I did also want to talk about how I feel like my life has improved since graduating, because believe it or not, life does get better after graduating. And a lot of people told me it's going to either get really hard for me or it's going to get a lot better. And I was really scared about what the outcome would be, because when I had some friends graduate in like 2019, I had some friends who were really struggling and going through it and having a really hard time. But this was also during a time where there was a lot of feeling of FOMO, because a lot of people were having jobs, and if you didn't, then you know it's difficult, especially when leaving college. But I think I'm very lucky and fortunate and forever grateful that I'm in the position that I'm in, and I know that this situation is not going to be everyone's case or how everyone feels after graduation, or they're not in the same circumstances. I completely get that. But for me personally, I think all of the things that I was struggling with before, and I was so curious as to if I would still be struggling with all of them when I graduate, all of my fears like just went away. Like, all of my problems that I had prior, for the most part, pretty much went away. So I'll give you an example. I was struggling really, really hard at the end of October. It was right after I adopted Clementine, actually. And I was really struggling to get anything done. As I was mentioning earlier, I couldn't function. I had a hard time eating. I had a hard time getting dressed for the day. My biggest struggle of all time was getting schoolwork done. I was about, I don't know, 6 weeks behind on schoolwork by the end of like the semester, all because I was struggling so hard. And I had to email all of my professors and just apologize, and how it was so unlike me. And all it started with was one assignment, one essay that I could not bring myself to do. And it set me down a spiral, and I couldn't do anything else. It was so physically impossible for me to do anything. So If you actually go on my TikTok and you scroll back down, there's a video of me struggling to get like a 5-page essay up in like, I think it was like an hour and a half, and I played like Mario Kart music to encourage myself to get it done. And it got like good views and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, too many people are relating to this. And that day sent me down a massive spiral. And I posted another TikTok not too long after that. It's actually gaining traction now, and I feel like I need to do a follow-up video for that because it makes me so sad that people are still relating to it. But I made this TikTok where I was like, I can't bring myself to do anything. Every single day I wake up and I tell myself I'm going to get so much done. Today's going to be different, and I just simply cannot do it. And I don't know what's wrong with me, and I want to do things and I just can't. And so many people were like, oh, you're depressed. Oh, it's, dang it, what do they call it? I forget. It's like I couldn't follow through with something. I forget the exact thing that executive dysfunction. People were telling me I had ADHD. Whatever the actual literal diagnosis is, I don't want to get into that. I really don't like when people diagnose me on the internet. I understand I kind of set myself up there like I was telling people my problems and everything. But in my YouTube videos, especially during vlogmas, I got a lot of comments about people diagnosing me with mental health illnesses that I just simply don't like it when people do that, because that's like between me and my doctors and professionals, and I appreciate people being concerned and wanting to give me maybe some help and everything, but it was very difficult for me to read comments for a while because there was like a laundry list, and people pointing out different timestamps of my videos and being like, I think that she has this mental illness because of this thing that she said at this time. And I'm like, all right, guys, all right, come on. But anyway, that video, a lot of people were telling me like, this is actually quite common in people who are struggling right now, like during a pandemic and in school, and teachers and professors are not lightening up, and you're probably just going through executive dysfunction right now where you just can't carry on through with what seems to be like simple tasks, and it's can be debilitating. And I was like, yeah, I really, really am. But there was no cure. There's still people commenting on it today, and they're like, okay, so how do I fix this? And I don't have a solid answer or cure, because I myself as a human being, me personally, I cannot do things unless I really want to do them. That also applies to like people not doing them, but me liking someone. If I don't like someone, I can't fake it that I do. Like if I have a problem with someone, or I can't be two-faced and look at them and compliment them and be extremely kind. Like I am at most neutral. And the same thing with doing things. I have a really hard time doing things that I don't want to do whatsoever. Like, so if I started baseball, for example, and if I really am not enjoying baseball, I will just simply stop going to the practices. Like I will not force myself to continue because I have just a difficult time doing something like that, which is why I always say to myself, that's how you know I completely love YouTube. That's how you know I love podcasting. That's how you know I love doing everything that I do in my life, because I could not bring myself to do anything if I did not actually enjoy it. And I guess that's a good thing in a sense, because it shows that did I just say that? I feel like I just literally said that. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. I'm not going to cut that out either, because believe it or not, guys, I don't edit my podcast because I just talk completely straight through. If you're listening to this right now, I have not cut out anything. I have not even paused. Like I've paused to like turn my head away and like swallow my spit like right now. And that's it. It's really bad, but I kind of like the flow that I have within my podcast. I have a very good stream of consciousness, I feel like. And if I don't like talk it all out, then I'm going to forget things. And I'm not a very good person at following bullet points. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that I think that's a good thing, because I don't do anything that I don't want to do. And when it comes to people, I don't fake friendships. I don't fake how I feel about people, because I would not be able to fake it whatsoever. If I'm upset with you or sad, you will probably know, because I don't do a good job at just like faking it, I guess you could say. So in a way, that's a good thing, but it's a problem when you really don't want to do school, because more than anything, all I wanted to do is have a break. I just wanted to relax and take care of myself and play with my cat that I just got. And it was really hard because I loved her so much, but she was making me so lazy because all I wanted to do was lay with her and accept her love and take care of her. And that's all I wanted to do with my time because she was making me so happy. She still makes me happy. Oh my God, I can't like get any work done. Literally, I sat down for 1 second and she sat on me and I was like, I guess I can't do anything for like the next hour. This is so unfortunate. And that's how I felt for a very long time, was that I'm not going to feel better until school is literally over because I can't, like I don't have a break. The Thanksgiving break was like non-existent. I was literally working on my finals because professors still assigned essays during Thanksgiving break, which is fucked up. And then winter break for me, that was like the end of school. So I wasn't done with school. December 10th, I think, was my last day. Yes, December 10th was my last day, like my last final ever. And that was also the last day of my mom's chemo. God, was that an amazing day. I felt overjoyed. I felt rejuvenated, euphoric, just everything and more that I wanted. It was in that day. And I was so happy that my mom was done with some of the hardest months of her life, and I was done with some of the hardest months of my life for multiple reasons, and I got through it. And that meant a lot more to me than graduation ever did. Like, it did not feel that great seeing my face on the little like screen for Zoom or whatever. That didn't feel great. What felt great was just knowing that I could relax finally. Which leads me to why I stopped doing vlogmas. So I did vlogmas. And I really, really wanted to like, I thought that by me forcing myself to film and be productive, that maybe it would force me to be productive on the school end, because I knew that I would have to get my work done by a certain time so that I could edit my vlog. So when I was really, really struggling with all my schoolwork and I was so extremely behind, I had to take out like a week. And believe me, I try to do schoolwork every single day. I tried. I ended up having to write like a 35, I don't remember, page paper for class as a final, and I started it at like 8 p.m. and I finished at like 3 a.m. It was ridiculous. I will never do that to myself ever again. I was so extremely nauseous and sick, and that has never happened to me before. And I did all these projects and I was working so hard to get all these assignments done. God, I'm so proud of Nicole back then, because I would not be able to do that now. That was some of the most stressful few days of my life. And for some reason, I was like, oh yes, I can do Vlogmas because it will force me to be more productive. And also, I always wanted to do Vlogmas because I saw Claudia Solowski doing it and every other YouTuber who I don't ever watch during the year, but I will watch around Vlogmas. And I was like, wow, I want to do this. This looks like so much fun. And maybe it'll also put me into the Christmas mood because I don't feel like it's Christmas whatsoever. On top of that, I can't see my family this year other than my mom and my stepdad. So this will be a fun time. And I'm here to confirm that it didn't really work, like the whole Vlogmas thing, because I was getting extremely stressed out. So I also put a pause on Vlogmas. So I basically did 12 days of Christmas, but the reverse. I did it the first 12 days of December instead of the days leading up till Christmas. Ugh, I'm a mess. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because I tried it and it was fun while it lasted. And I'm happy that you guys liked it while it did, but then it also got repetitive because I was looking at my life and every single day was the same. And then when I literally was done with school, all I wanted to do was relax and lay in bed all day, and I didn't want to film. I just wanted to be alone with my thoughts for the first time in months. And I'm grateful that I did that. I'm grateful that I gave myself the time and the space in order to do so, and that I stopped doing the podcast. I stopped doing YouTube for 2 weeks. I think I gave myself 2 weeks and I just watched movies and I hung out with my family and I had a great time. And I'm so proud of myself that I finally let myself do that, because I had such a big issue with disappointing others and always having to do things for others. And I'm like, oh my God, Nicole, relax. And my friend Jake always tells me, he's like, Nicole, it's really going to be fine. No one's even probably going to notice that you didn't upload. And even if they do, like, they're not going to be pissed at you. Like, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. I don't know why I always think that someone's out to get me. And that's something that I've learned since graduating. That's another thing that has improved my life since graduating, is that I give myself so much more grace and respect towards myself, because prior to this, I was not respecting myself or my time very, very well. Like, if I understand, I do YouTube as a hobby while it is my job. So if that means doing it on the weekends, like, that's me doing it as a hobby, you know what I mean? But I have now made the decision since graduating that I will only be working on the weekdays. I am not answering emails on the weekends anymore. I'm not, I'm trying not to record or edit on the weekends anymore. I just want to work on the weekdays so that I can have the weekends to literally spend time with my family or do whatever the heck I want alone and not have it involve YouTube. It can be any other hobby, but it's like a rule for myself. Like, for example, if I was a guitarist or something, which I am picking up the guitar, if I was a guitarist or something, but if I was doing it so much, like if it was my job or something, like I think I would probably cut it off and tell myself, like, Nicole, you can't do it on the weekends. You need to focus on other hobbies. You need to do other things so you don't get sick of this thing, so that you don't hate yourself, and that you're also not overworking that thing and making yourself upset, and giving yourself time to just relax and not forcing yourself to do this because other people are expecting you to do that. And I'm very, very grateful that I've learned that. Some self-respect. I literally didn't know how to make a schedule for myself for YouTube either. I was like, Mom, I don't know how I can upload on Thursday and Sunday. Like, I don't know how I can do it. And like, I don't know what my schedule is supposed to be in order for me not to work on the weekends. And my mom literally looked at the calendar, pointed me the dates that I should be filming, pointed me the dates that I should be editing, pointed me my free days, my free time, like whatever. And I was like, holy shit, that all makes sense. That literally all makes sense. I don't know why I struggled so bad with it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I said gentlemen really weird. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how I created a schedule for myself, and I have started respecting myself way more. And I think that's also made me like myself a lot more too, because I have some discipline for myself. I had to take this personality quiz, like, that my school paid for when I was an RA. We had to do it for like training. And I'm almost positive that one of the traits that I had, like one of my top 5, was discipline. And I don't know if I have much discipline, so I don't know where that came from. But then again, I could have been half asleep when I took the test. But like, I'm pretty sure I took the test twice, and both times it came back as discipline. I don't know. I have discipline now. That's all that matters. Another thing that has improved since graduating is that, God, I have so much time to do whatever I want. Oh my God. Like, I don't have to live for my professors or assignments anymore. On Friday, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I want to get out of the house. I want to literally just go somewhere that is not home, but us being safe. And where did we go? The cemetery. I think I mentioned this in like a prior video or a post or something, but just for the vibes and for a fun time driving with my mom, we just drove like an hour away to this Polish cemetery, and we had a good time and we talked, and I realized a lot of things about myself on that drive and had a fun little time with my mom. And that's exactly what we did now. We gossiped in the church parking lot, and we got yummy, delicious food that we ate in the car, and it just, what a good time it was. It felt so good to just get out of the house, and I was like, I can just do this now. Like, I can leave, like, while my mom is still not working right now. Like, I can just, like, do and have these fun days with my mom and enjoy time, and I feel so grateful for it. And I understand that's like a luxury of being self-employed, is that I'm able to have like more time for my family. I'm able to do whatever as I please. And I'm so grateful that I decided to take the route that my entire family has taken, because all of my family, well, not all, but most of my family who is in America, who has immigrated here from Poland, has all been self-employed. Yeah, pretty much everyone who is here, they all decided to go the self-employed route. And I didn't really ever imagine myself working when I was little. Like I'd never like dreamt of where am I going to work when I'm older? I want to work for this company or that. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And my mom always talked about how much she loved being self-employed and doing what she does because she's able to set her own hours. She is her own boss. She loves her clients. She gets to choose her clients, and it's the best thing ever. And I completely agree. And I'm so grateful that I decided to go that route too. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to turn my little side hustle into my main hustle. So I know I talk about that a lot, but I'm just so grateful for it every single day. Like you have no idea. Like I literally look at myself and I'm like, Nicole, I'm so fucking proud of you. Like you are literally 10-year-old you's dream girl. Like you are her role model, and that is so fun for me. So yes, I will never stop encouraging others to follow their dreams and also be grateful for where they are now in their life, because God, I can't imagine if I was just like a stuck up little asshole and not realizing like the amazing position that I'm in my life right now. I'm just so happy about it. But I'm also able to, since I've graduated, put way more time into YouTube because now I don't have to do schoolwork and projects for school, and I'm able to make videos that I really like. And this is what the content that I've been making lately is my favorite content that I've been making in a while. Like I just feel like every video that I've put out recently, I'm like banger, 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 banger. Like even if like the numbers may not be like looking like banger numbers to you, like they're not in the millions or anything, they're bangers to me because I like them. And I'm like, this was a cool concept, Nicole. This was a cool video, Nicole. I will watch my video back and be like, that's cool. And I even watched some of my old videos back, from back then, like when I say back then, I mean from literally like a year ago. And I'm like, God, you were so much more like yourself. And even though I was like doing some cooler edits, I feel like back then, and some cooler concepts for some things, and maybe like my creative juices were flowing a little bit better because I had like people to bounce off my ideas to, because I lived around a bunch of people, like a bunch of creative people, and also the fact that I was, I don't know, I think when you're stuck in the same spot, it's a little bit hard for your creative juices to flow, and by being stuck somewhere, I mean here, like where I am, like in my bedroom all the time. And like when I was at college, like I always had like, oh my God, for an intro, I could do this or do that. But like, I still really like the videos that I'm making now. And in turn, I feel so much less stressed out since graduating college. Like I really, really mean that when I say like, I don't feel this constant weight of stress and anxiety and suckiness at all times. And it makes me sad because I know come March it's going to be really hard on me because I'm going to lose all my hair, because generally, well, from what I heard from dermatologists, don't get scared, guys, but this is what I heard from dermatologists, is that if you were really stressed out in a period of time, or if a time was making you super anxious or anything, like for me, like I physically manifest a lot of my stressors. I don't even mean the word manifest like lightly, like it physically comes out of me, like whether it's IBS or clenching my jaw at night and breaking my night guard. Basically your hair will fall out 3 months later. What I mean is that when the pandemic like struck in March, a lot of people found that their hair was falling out in June. That's 3 months after March, right? Yeah. April, May, June, yes. And people were losing their hair, and dermatologists were like, yeah, that's kind of common because the body like manifests the stress like in your life and everything, and your hair will fall out from stress generally like 3 months later. And December was such a stressful month for me, November and December. So if I start losing hair in February and March, nobody be surprised. That's another reason I had to cut my hair short, was because my hair was falling out and I was insecure about it being thin. But it's okay because I really like it short and cute. And I've cut my hair like a million times in quarantine and I still like it and I don't regret it. And people still are like, Nicole, but what about your hairdresser? I don't foresee any future of me going anywhere anytime soon. So fuck it. It's my hair. My hair probably would have been down to my ass by now if I didn't keep cutting it, but I like it. So it's okay if my hairdresser's mad at me. It's all good. I also kind of wanted to talk about how I've lately been only consuming a lot of content that I like myself, because I feel like that's an issue for a lot of people, is consuming a lot of content that they hate and are angry with. I kind of talked about this in my video where I was talking about how I stopped letting social media ruin my life and everything. And now that I value my time a lot more after college, and realize that my time really is very valuable, I stopped consuming shit content and things I didn't like anymore, because I was like, damn, the days kind of do feel like they're going by a tiny bit faster, because whether, I'm waking up later, or I'm able to go to bed earlier because I don't have to stay up so late, and the days are just getting shorter, I'm like, I might as well only consume things that I really, really enjoy and like. And yeah, I don't know, I just felt like mentioning that in this podcast, just because I feel like a lot of people after they're done with college, at least like my friends, they're just consuming a lot of negative shit. And there's so much bad stuff on the online right now, especially like after the election, and people and fucking conspiracy theories. Literally, my cousin, I was texting her today, she's from England, and she was telling me that she's going on a phone cleanse starting tomorrow because she needs to she has to find her equilibrium again. And I thought that was such a cool thing to say, and how she just needs to find balance again in her life, and she's really, really searching for it, and she thinks that she just needs to get off her phone for like a week. So she's like, if you need me, just email me. So I got her email, so I plan on sending her updates and messaging her business email style. Like, I'm going to start it off and be like, to whom it may concern. And then I'm going to fill her in on everything that I need to fill her in throughout my day. And then I'm going to end it off. Thank you, best Nicole Raffi. I think it's going to be a good time. But she even was saying like that she's been consuming a lot of like stupid content. It hasn't been making her feel better. She's not focusing on the things that she should be enjoying. And that just made me think. And I was like, damn, Nicole, have you been doing that? And like, maybe to a certain extent, like I've been watching some things that I shouldn't be, or listening to some things that have been benefiting my life or making me happier. And so I just wanted to be a little bit more conscious about everything in terms of what I am consuming online. And I'm going to finish off this podcast because we're about to hit the 1 hour mark, which I cannot believe that I talked for an hour straight. And I still have all this energy. But something that you guys actually can comment in the Instagram post that I will be posting tomorrow, and you guys can chat about the podcast episode if you would like. I have a question for you all. And this also talks about my stress manifesting itself and me talking for an hour. It all blends in, okay? So, as some of you guys may know, that I have a problem with me clenching my jaw at night. I used to say grinding my teeth. I don't technically grind my teeth because I don't go like back or forth or anything. It's really just me biting down extremely hard. And I do it during the day without me noticing. I have to like pry my mouth open when I wake up in the morning. It's pretty bad, and it's uncomfortable, and I have cracks in all of my teeth, like hairline fractures in all of my teeth. Because I wasn't wearing a night guard for a very long time, and I have been wearing one for over 2 years. So my question is, well, I don't have my question yet. Hold on. I let me keep talking. So I have been going through a lot of migraines recently. I've even posted on my story before, like, sorry guys, like, can't upload because I have a migraine. And I've been going through a lot of migraines recently, and they do run in my family, but I do think that these are stress and jaw related. I always have jaw pain. If I touch my jaw, it hurts really bad. And when I look in the mirror, I don't feel like I look like myself, because I know for a fact that my jaw is inflamed and swollen. And I have been getting called fatty on a lot of videos lately. That kind of stuff doesn't get to me. Fat is not an insult to begin with. So take that out of your vocabulary. Don't take the word fat out of your vocabulary. Stop using it as an insult is what I mean. Additionally, that doesn't offend me, but the fact that people are starting to see what I'm talking about in terms of my jaw being inflamed, I think that is what they were referring to when they were calling me fatty. It's my inflamed jaw. And I believe that is due to my TMJ and my jaw problems. So, hear me out. I have been looking into what I can do for this. My family doctor is not going to be of much help. My dentist has also not been of much help. I still am suffering through a lot of pain of my jaw. I don't look the same. I know I look swollen and inflamed, and I've been getting migraines. So I've been doing some research, and it seems like a really good option, and I have been recommended this before, is to actually get Botox in my jaw to weaken the muscle, and it is supposed to help you from squeezing your jaw basically and like clenching down at night during the day, and people have had amazing results from it. I also know that there can be some bad results from it as well, but of course it depends who you go to. But I know of a plastic surgeon, aesthetic, facial surgeon, whatever you want to call them. I know of one that I would really trust and go to and everything. But I want to hear personally from anybody who is listening to this podcast and has had this procedure done. I know it can be pricey. I'm very aware, and that is something I'm taking into consideration because that shit is expensive. But I'm in so much pain. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm sick and tired of taking an Excedrin migraine pill as often as I do, and I know that shit is not good for my liver. And I would like to keep my liver, all right? So, if any of you guys have had Botox in your jaw, please let me know. And leave it in, like, the Insta comment section. If you're uncomfortable doing that, please DM me. I will be checking my DMs. I just am desperate for anything to work for me, and if you guys have any advice on that, I would love to hear your guys' experience. And if I do actually end up getting this done, you best believe I'm making a video out of it, because I just feel like that would be a really fun experience. And I'm just very, very, very tired of this pain that I'm going through, because it's quite terrible and painful. And one of the problems that I have is talking for a long time. And I don't have it tonight, which is amazing. And that might be because I'm not moving my jaw a whole lot or making many facial expressions. I feel like that might have something to do with it. But like, for example, I made a playlist video not too long ago. And while I was driving, I started to get a migraine. And it was terrible because I had to continue to drive and I had to pick up food, and it was just a complete mess. And I believe it was from literally singing and talking for a long time. Like, it was an hour and 20 minutes that I was doing that, and that led for a migraine the entire night. And then even the next day I was still dizzy and not feeling very good. And it makes me scared because I usually generally film for about an hour. And even when I do the podcast, it's about an hour. And that's enough to like set and trigger a migraine for me with my jaw pain and everything. So I've had these before. It's one of the reasons I had to quit Chipotle. I kind of talk about this in tomorrow's episode with Jake, but it kind of had to lead me to quitting Chipotle additionally because I was getting these migraines from talking and at work, and same thing with being an RA. That's not why I quit though, but I was doing all of these things where I would have to be very, very social, and I thought that it was the social aspect that was making me get migraines, but I'm almost positive it's from my jaw. I'm almost positive that it's the talking aspect that is the issue, not the social aspect, because yeah. Anyway, if anyone has any advice, any Botox recommendations, I can't wait to be a 21-year-old lady who can say that she got Botox. How cool. How cool am I, guys? How cool am I to get Botox in my TMJ muscle and masseter muscle, right? That's where I'm leaving this podcast off on. I hope that you guys had a good time, because I had an amazing time, and I can't wait to get back into the swing of podcasting. I hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed tomorrow's episode of I Saw Your Tweet, Are You Okay? Go make sure to check out the Instagram, Talk Nasty Podcast, as well as my socials. Everything is at Nicole Raffi, except my TikTok is at Nikki Nasty, and new videos every Thursday and Sunday, unless something happens, such as me getting a migraine from singing too loud in the car. That's about it. Peacing out. Love and blessings. I don't know why that was so difficult for me to say. Bye.